Hello, beautifuls. It's Charlotte here with Dragonfly Soul Healing. I am just outside of my little town that I live in, and I'm just up on a little bit of a hill, waiting for the moon. Patiently, we can see parts of her now. So I'm just gonna hang out here and kind of chat about what I've been feeling and seeing and all those kinds of things as I stand out here looking at all these stars and loving it, enjoying this energy, calling forth all those people that I need to forgive, those situations I'm ready to let go of. We had a beautiful moon ceremony tonight, and it was so powerful. Oh, that was interesting. I'm not looking at my camera, but it just did a solid beam in there, didn't it? Okay, so we got some interesting energy out here already. This moon has been interesting. This energy that's coming forward has been tumultuous in some senses and really chaotic, disruptive, but all for a reason. And so it's interesting. It's like every time the moon comes up a little bit more, it starts struggling here. It's probably not helping that I'm on holding the phone, but very interesting. I like this. I love how distracted I'm getting here. Okay. This energy has been distracting, disruptive, uncomfortable, very tower moment. We have been experiencing many foundations crumbling, and it has been uncomfortable. And yet there's something so liberating and freeing about this energy. So as we're going through these frustrations and stuff like that, we are also experiencing a blessing as well. And so we have to recognize where these shifts and these towers that are falling are benefiting us and helping us shift and transform into a whole new frequency, a whole new world. And we will see a shift in who sticks around over the coming weeks, who's really in it for the long haul in your frequency at this point, excuse me, and who's not meant to be there anymore. And it's a big theme. It's a big theme. We're seeing a huge spike in people really struggling to human and make decisions because it feels like there's no right decision. And one thing I've been seeing is it's not a good time to make really big decisions unless unless you have to, right? If you have time to kind of sit in these frequencies, allow the time you have, because I feel like with the events that are transpiring and the chaos that's about to erupt, I feel like this moon is stirring a bit of a shit pot in its own little sense. And it's probably why they have me up here. I haven't chased a moon in a while, just because it's like 11:30 here, BC time. So it takes a really long time for the moon to come out when it's full, especially in the summer. So back home, I used to be able to chase it and it'd be like 9, 8:30 even. Sometimes you could see it as early as 7, and then even earlier in the winter, but all of a sudden it's getting so much brighter out here, and you can kind of just see more around right beside me and stuff. I don't have my dim up, so I can't really see how much you guys can see, but lots of stars out. It's beautiful. So I haven't been out and sat with the moon in a while, which used to be something I did like every month if I could, if it wasn't raining, if it wasn't cloudy. So I'm kind of going back to some old roots in a sense. And I feel like we're adjusting a lot of who we are. And so we could be experiencing some of these past memories, experiences, a very Six of Cups kind of energy, where that past is coming back up to really be reevaluated. And I feel like the communication, the technology, everything's been kind of wonky. So I don't know where we're at with Mercury, but I feel like she's doing something too, because there's definitely an interesting inability to communicate with some people right now. And I think that this is a lot of those disruptions I'm talking about coming through. So there's a lot of things we are disrupting, falling apart, and dropping. And not everybody's just allowing it to take place. And it's beautiful, that little star there, like that. Some people are really fighting their change right now. And one of the biggest things that I am seeing is that the more flexible you're willing to be with the universe in this moment, the easier time you will have getting through these circumstances which are being placed in front of you. And so it's one of those things where if you just allow some of these circumstances to play out without trying to control the narrative or know how it's going to be or where you're going to end up, you will be very surprised where you find yourself by the end of this year. That feels really important. There's been a really strong message towards the healing energies coming through, really finding that voice, standing in that power. Every circle that Rose and I host has just been so powerful and healing for so many people. You watch it transpire and you watch these people come back looking like different people even after a week, 2 weeks, a month. And we are in a time of like radical transformation, and I've talked about it a few times, where if you make that decision for yourself and allow yourself to just step into this healing journey, you will be amazed at how quickly it transforms. And so when we're getting these calls to start doing more for ourselves, going to those circles or going and finding your own group or routine or whatever is being asked to be changed, if you go with that flow, you see huge shifts. As the coyotes go off. Get another one for confirmation. So if you avoid that work, you avoid that change, you become very uncomfortable in these circumstances. And this is where I feel like that moon, yeah, we're gonna have a coyote howling, because that's a Saskatchewan thing for sure. Gosh, so distracting, guys. And that's the other thing, is we will have to be really mindful of these distractions. Why are we being distracted? What message or what are we trying to think about or tap into that's causing this disruption in your field? What beings are in your field right now? Who are you hanging out with that, holds ties to some heavier energies? And it doesn't even have to be like entities. It can literally just be their own crap, right? So be really mindful of that right now. Who's around you? And are they healing themselves? Are they doing their work? Or are they getting trapped in chaos? Do you need to be around that energy right now, or do you need to just pull back from your people? Right? This is going to be important to help you get through this transformation, to help you transpire these big shifts. The foundations are crumbling for everybody, especially those who aren't doing their work. And you can see it. Look at your friends, look at your family. What are they experiencing? Foundations crumbling, maybe? A lot of emotions, upset, conflicts. The more we aren't doing our work, the more those conflicts are taking place. So, what are you being called to do? Right now, I'm being called to sit by the moon and take in this energy, and it's exactly what I'm going to do after I stop this video. Sometimes I'm being called to have a bath, sometimes I'm being called to nap, right? Other times I'm asked to work all day, not get home from, my stuff until after midnight, like tonight. If we allow ourselves to ebb and flow, you will find amazing adventures and amazing things transpiring. And I think that's the biggest thing we need to focus on right now is, what are you being asked to do every day? When I go on adventures, tonight I did not plan this at all. This was literally like one good song on my playlist turned into like 2 extra back roads, and then I was like, damn, that moon is getting close to being out. Let's go hop up that hill over there. And if I would have been like, I just seen 11:11, if I would have been like, no, you know what? I'm tired. I had a long day. I just had an intense, crazy meditation with the people. If I made it excuses, I wouldn't be here right now. Overlooking the valley as people drive by, unfazed, lost in their own world, their own story, their own stuff. I don't even exist to them from way up here, but I hear their energy drive by. I wouldn't be sitting in this moment taking in this giant supermoon if we don't allow life to unfold. We control it and then we don't enjoy it as much. And I see how important that is more and more every day, because nothing's ever going to go your way. Nothing's ever going to be the way you want it to be. So how do you let that go? How do you embrace what you have, what you can do? I miss gravel roads on such a level. Right now I'm on like a tiny gravel road where it's like gravel for a fucking kilometer. And listen, I would fucking drive back and forth on this just to hear that gravel for a bit. But am I complaining about living in the mountains? No. Right? Because I have this beauty. And I might not get the moon the way I used to and the way I want it, or the skies, or the sunsets. But I also have a lot of really other beautiful things, like community, friends, mountains, waterfalls, clean lakes, lots of things. So if I got too lost on the fact that I couldn't see the stars and the moon like I used to, I'd miss out on the beauty that I have. So what do you need to shift this moon? What perspectives? What thoughts? What beliefs? What patterns? Where you're stuck? Where you refuse to change because you believe this is how it's always meant to be? Because that's how mom and dad did it and grandma and grandpa did it, but didn't they come in and just copy what the other ones did and the other ones before that? How do we change this? We have to shift. Be flexible. Ask more questions. Be willing to not know the answer. Be okay with just flowing. Be okay with just getting in your car and accidentally driving up a hill to watch the moon. Right? Shift. Deconstruct that ancestral patterning so that your children embrace this earth more than just money, greed, ego. Ain't nobody's gonna give me a view like this for money. Do this for free. It's not about what we have materially. It's what we've enjoyed in this moment, in this life. And life gets caught up on us, and we will get lost, and we will get triggered, and we will get frustrated. But how long are you willing to let those things ruin your day for? What if you could see the bigger picture and the reason that things happen sometimes so that you just understood it, even if you don't? Gotta shift the narrative, guys. There's some big things coming, and I talk about it most every time I do a reading for the group, because every time I come on, it's like there's big things happening again. Are you coming with us? What are you doing? How are you shifting? How are you stepping into mission and helping this earth? It's more than just you here. And when we get too lost in our story, we fucking forget that we didn't come here just for this human experience. We came here to free these humans that have been trapped by really dense, dark things for a really fucking long time. But the only way that we can help them break free is if we break ourselves free, by not living in that fear narrative that we are going to starve, that there's not enough, that we have to trust in the government. Who cares what the government's doing? Don't even worry about it. Not you, not your story. How do you deconstruct this? Stop watching the news. Stop going to the doctor every time you have a sniffle. Change the narrative. Find a healer. Take control of your life so that your generations moving forward don't have to be your age before they start waking up. It's how we change the world, by changing self. So it's going to be an interesting few weeks, but even this next week or so feels really, I feel like our lives completely change overnight, and then it happens again and again, like a couple times. I feel like we're going to timeline hop so frantically that we're not even sure what's happening. So this is that disorienting feeling that we're experiencing, because there's a lot taking place, a lot of bindings being released, especially from the feminines, but definitely tapping into the masculines as well. Releasing a lot of old traumas. I've been picking up some really big codes tied to stuff that started in Lemuria but actually started outside of this earth plane that just came here. And so moving that energy for each person, each circle, I tap in and I move as much as I can with you. And the more that we can do that, the more we can deconstruct this human narrative that's been lost and embedded in fear. So, I think I'm just going to leave that here now so I can really embrace my moon moment and kind of take in these stars and all the energy around me as the world's kind of lost below. Look at life from a different perspective this month. Just another 1 month. Start observing things differently. Asking different questions instead of, fuck, why is this happening again? How can you change that tone? How can you change that energy in the question tied to the circumstances? See how life looks different when you start observing it differently. What is this trying to show me? What's shifting? What other perspective is possible from this circumstance that's playing out the way I didn't expect? What am I not seeing? What am I supposed to feel or understand from this? Change the narrative. Alright guys, I'm going to finish this up and I will chat with you all later.